So with just that simple thought in mind of rotating around his hips, from his new setup, and without a golf club, we had John make some slow speed back and forth pivots. His only thought was trying to feel the movement of the middle of his hips in space. Closing his eyes was a big help for him. Once he felt he had a handle on those movements, we put the club back in his hands and had him make some swings, but still going slow. Once he felt good about moving with the club now, we allowed him to ramp up the speed as he started to hit balls. We also started capturing his swing again so we could begin to anchor his feels to the reels. Here are the progressions of his pelvis trace, which is all that we worked on, as he worked through the process of changing this movement pattern. This was the first swing. Instead of a vertical move straight towards the golf ball, he has a little forward component now to that move. Still no move away and still too much movement out towards the ball, but you can see it's getting better. Here was his second swing. He took off 20 miles an hour of club head speed just so he can get back to feeling a more exaggerated movement with the center of his pelvis. And here's his third swing. Now we're back closer to normal speed, only now he's using that breakaway move off the ball at the beginning of his swing. This is swing number 4. Call this the bear hug swing. Full speed now with the exaggerated feel from the previous 2 swings. Now he's completely reversed the movement he had when he first came in. This was the first time I'd ever been given a hug during a lesson. He said he had never seen himself make a swing at full speed without any sort of props or chairs or alignment or training aids, without seeing his hips thrust out towards the golf ball. This swing was the first time he had seen that. This is swing 5. This was the fastest swing of the day so far by 3 miles an hour. He's starting to get the feel for it without the exaggerations now. And swings 6 through 37 pretty much all look like this. He really had the feel for it. He was really starting to reproduce it on every swing. Because we were keeping his focus and feels on just one thing, he had totally forgotten about trying to get more open or be less flippy through the hit. He had forgotten all about it, but we didn't. This is swing 38. His speed had gradually increased from 83 miles an hour on the first swing we captured that day to 92 miles an hour. These were all 7-irons, by the way. His pelvis trace had completely changed, which was his only focus. His hips went from being 18 degrees open at impact to now 33 degrees open. His chest went from being 14 degrees open to now 23 degrees open. And his shoulders went from being 15 closed to now square at impact. That's the big one. And that was the real reason impact felt so terrible to him. Having his shoulders square stabilized his release and gave him a much better club path for the shots he wanted to play out on the course. So that's it. In 38 swings, John gave himself 9 more miles per hour of club head speed. He completely changed his concept of how to pivot, and that allowed him to change his movement pattern in a big way. He got rid of something he had given up on. He had given up all hope of not thrusting towards the ball in the downswing, and he gained something that he had been trying so hard to get. He's now more open and rotated than he's ever been before. He did it all without a drill or without a training aid. His process was to adopt the right concept, then slowly build awareness for how those movements differed from what his normal was. He also gave himself permission to experiment and exaggerate, but most importantly, he kept a singular focus on the cause. John's original hip movements is one of the most common issues in the golf swing that we see on a daily basis. Hopefully this will help give you a better understanding and a visual of how to go about making these changes in your own swing. John's a great example of taking some of what the best in the game do and applying it to his own swing. You can do the same thing. Don't just settle for what it looks like on the TV screen. Try to really understand and find evidence of what it is they're actually doing. You can turn that into real, tangible results, just like you saw John do here.